This is Jam Nation.
With Jonesy and Amanda.
Throughout its reign, the British Empire stole a lot of stuff. Today, those objects are housed in genteel institutions across the UK, like, for example, the giant diamond in front of the Queen's crown. Our next guest is host of the chart-topping ABC podcast series and now a new TV series on the not-so-polite history behind these objects. The show is called Stuff the British Stole. Marc Fennell, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Very well.
Right.
I think people would be shocked to hear where a lot of this stuff came from, and I think people starting to have a different attitude about it now.
Yeah, I think that's true. But what I've found is most interesting with these objects is they're usually never that clear cut. So, the show has a very spicy title, Stuff the British Stole. But actually, when you start to dig into where these objects came from, who took them, how they were taken, it's always messier than people think. And that diamond there, it's the first episode that we start with. It was stolen multiple times before it ends up in the UK, but it's when you dig into the exact circumstances. And then, spoiler alert, it's taken from a child. It ends up in the court of Victoria, but it's taken from a child in the Punjab. And so when you look at that, you go, ew, how do I actually feel about that? And I'm very big on not actually offering an opinion. I just kind of lay it out. And then you as an audience have to go, oh, this is messier than I thought it was.
And so, what the kid had the diamond, and Punjab, it's not like a really rich area. So, how did she or he get that diamond?
Well, this was the kid was the Maharaja of the Punjab, so he was rich. The area writ large was perhaps not, but he definitely was rich, and so they invade and they stand around him and they say sign it over to us, and he surrenders it.
And he's just a little kid. What else is he going to do?
Exactly. And so, technically he signs it over. So technically it's legal. But then you have to go, okay, well, is it really legal if somebody gifts you something while you're standing around them with guns? And that's where things get a bit messy.
It's like Christmas Day at your house.
That's robbery.
But so what are some of the other things? I know that I've heard the history of the Elgin marbles?
Yeah, the Elgin marbles or the Parthenon marbles. Yeah, no, so we actually did a whole episode of the podcast about this, and it's, that's another one of those situations where it's not in the TV series, but people can go listen to the podcast now, which is that, the British did ask for permission to take those marbles, but they didn't ask permissions from the Greeks. They asked permissions from the other empire that was in charge of Greece at the time. So that's how they argued that it was kind of okay.
And when we say marbles, they're not like little marbles you play at school. There's incredible, extraordinary friezes, aren't they, on walls and things. The British Museum's filled with it.
Massive. It was, there was the roof and the columns of this incredible, and it's this beautiful kind of pink marble that it's breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking to look at. And they would use explosives to pull it down off, and they did an enormous amount of damage to get it down so they could ship it. And actually, when they shipped it from Greece over to the UK, there was a shipwreck. So it sank to the bottom of the ocean, and then they had to get divers to dig it up again to bring it over. And so when you get into those twists and turns, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Do you think people are feeling differently about this stuff now? It used to be, no, that belongs to the British Empire, but now people are starting to feel a bit uncomfortable with it?
That's a good question. I never quite know how to predict how people will react. So even, with this series, as it's come out and we've started having ads on TV, people have been like, oh, but they also kind of saved it as well. And the funny thing is, in some cases, you could argue that's true. So one of the objects that we have, and it's not just about stuff that ends up in the British Isles, it's also about the British Empire writ large. There's a lot of objects we do on the series that actually end up in Australia. And one of those objects, it lives in Canberra in the Australian War Memorial. And the argument was that, hey, we're saving it. And that may actually be true. But now, fast forward to 2022, and you've got people back in this case from Palestine where it was taken who are like, actually, we'd kind of like it back now. And it's been here since the 1940s. So what do we do? And I think those are really important questions that, you think they're kind of removed from people's lives, but it's about people's feelings. Yeah. You talk to any Greek person about the Parthenon marbles and the feeling is very strong. You talk to Indians about that diamond. It's very strong. The object is part of it, but it's how we feel about it that's really important.
Because you look at the Taliban, they were just blowing everything up, all that iconography, so all that good stuff that was around. And obviously, you couldn't take those giant statues that they blew up. But there is.
You'd rather they survived somewhere.
You would rather they'd still be around.
Totally. And interestingly, that diamond that's in the very first episode, multiple countries claim it. One of those countries is India, another one is Pakistan, but also the Taliban, because it spent a period of its history in Afghanistan. The Taliban have also asked for it back too. So you get this situation where, because these objects move around through history, suddenly multiple different countries can make claims on it.
Oh,
and that makes
wow.
it messier.
Gee, imagine that
It hurts
phone
my
call.
head.
Imagine that phone call. It's the Taliban. Hello, I want my diamond back. Mate, we've got India on the line, and we've got Pakistan as well. This is
We'll make it
fascinating.
a group Zoom call and everybody can hash it out.
It's a Zoom chat. There you go. Pakistan's left the meeting.
Well, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, this is great. Mark, Stuff the British Stole. It starts tonight, 8 o'clock on ABC and ABC iView. Marc Fennell, thank you for joining us.
The pleasure is entirely mine. Thank you so much for having me.